Hey guys, I'm Tiffany and welcome back to the Wise Skies podcast. We have a special guest with us, Sasha Boyle. Welcome, Sasha.
Hi, thanks so much for having me back.
I love doing it as a video. I know we've done them as calls before, and it's so nice to just see your face and come back to the community. Everybody, Sasha is opening her schedule to do readings with us at Wise Skies this fall. And so I wanted to take an episode to revisit some of the things that she's doing because it's an astrological technique that we don't currently offer. And I thought it would be a great educational opportunity for you to learn about what progressions are from Sasha's viewpoint. And so today we're going to talk about progressions and we're going to talk about Sasha's offer. And will you just kind of warm yourself back up to people that might be new, that might not have seen some of your material with us before?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is nice to meet anyone new, and I'm so happy to be back. For those of you who may remember me, my name is Sasha, and I'm an astrologer and an artist. I focus a lot on the creativity cycle within my astrology, and I have also ventured out to study and practice around secondary progressions. And so that's more of a timing predictive technique that I've really kind of latched onto and appreciated the blessings it kind of gives.
Mm-hmm. And you're in Pennsylvania and you have a yogic background and you offer some cool e-shrams.
Thank you. Yes. I do. I grew up spending summers at a yoga camp. So it's kind of embroiled into who I am. So I find I do not practice Vedic astrology, but I love Vedic philosophy. And I understand that you have a new Vedic astrology.
We do.
I'm so stoked about. That
is
excellent. The wisdom held in the Vedas is just uncompared. Mm-hmm. And I really personally, when I started studying astrology, was like, should I do Vedic astrology now? And I realized that as a human on this earth, I have challenges in how to function on this earthly plane. And I have found my studying of Western astrology helps decode that a lot. But a visit into the Vedas is just like goes beyond time and space, and it's so exciting.
So that's a really good lead up. So next on the podcast, we're going to have Lavanga back on, and she's going to talk about the moon mansions, and all of the interesting, cool things. Yeah. So I'm so glad that we have you guys doing these extra special aspects of astrology. So I practice Western astrology, evolutionary astrology, and I'm a psychic medium. And maybe you've come to me for mediumship. Maybe you've come to me for a natal reading. Maybe you're part of the program where we do the transits and kind of see what's on the horizon and pick good timing. I was sitting in class with my teacher I guess earlier this week, and she was saying that at one point she had more Indian saris in her closet than not because her practice was about matchmaking for a while. She had a lot of people doing matchmaking, and so she was using astrology to help with Indian matchmaking. And I know it's so cool that all the different ways that you can work with the lens of astrology. It's the same planets and it's different philosophies.
Yes.
And so will you tell us a little bit about what a progression is? What do you look at in a progressed chart?
Sure. So in secondary progressions, it's a common timing technique that's being utilized a little bit more in modern astrology. And basically you take a day for a year formula. So it takes your birth chart and the first 90 days of your time on Earth becomes 90 years of your progress chart. And so I love the symbolism in that. And I love how it connects so much with divination. And, as you know, Tiffany, I love tarot, and I love that sense of leaving space for magic, right? So in the divination of this practice, I think it's just a really good way to incorporate both the transits into your natal chart and the progressions. So what are the differences between transits and progressions? You know, so you have your birth blueprint that's born into your heart when you come to Earth, and then you have the transits, which are movements of the planets that you experience through
The
your
weather,
life.
right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The weather, like the weather.
It is the weather, yeah. Right? Exactly, and it's like your chance for free will. You know what I'm saying? It's like take the opportunity, you can leave the opportunity. It's kind of your choice,
right?
Whereas progressions are more highly personalized plan, and that has been recorded since your birth. And so I really find they're helpful to do predictive astrology, to look in the year ahead and see, okay, what do I have some big things coming up? Not because I feel you want to figure a way around it, but to give this insight and this beautiful sense of, okay, how can I either prepare or really connect with different energies that may be on my path to help involve them in a way that feels good. If that makes sense. So, for example, the moon moves about 1 degree per month in a progress chart. So the sun moves about 1 degree per year.
Okay.
So one of the most kind of important planets to look at in a progress chart is your moon, because it's whipping around so much, and it spends maybe 2.5 years in each house. And when you ingress to a new house, it kind of symbolizes a big shift in your life. And so I have your chart, if it's okay with you, Tiffany, if I look at it. Okay. So first of all, I've been so excited to talk with you about your Mars, because I have been like secretly obsessing about your Mars, which I love so much. So you're, oh, sorry.
So has Lavanga in my Vedic reading. She's like, let's talk about your Mars. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's talk about it, you know?
Well, because especially with the current astrology that's going on now, because right, so Tiffany has in her first house a Sagittarius Mars conjunct Sagittarius Neptune. And so so this can mean several different things, and in fact it does mean several different things. I love the example you give of it being how you were into water sports in college. And I think that is a beautiful manifestation of it. A way that I see it manifest in you, and that tickles me endlessly, is your excitement around a spark around spirituality.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a pioneer that finds people, and when they spark your sense of wonder and awe around the spirit, you're like, yes, you know, and you tap into like incredible power that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think this goes to all your businesses, right? It's within Wise Skies, but it's also your publishing, you know what I mean? And it's also this sense of this internal desire that I think you run with. That's beautiful. And your progressed Mars, where do I have it here? Yes, on October 1995, moved in to Capricorn. And so it'll be there until 2034, which is actually kind of a big time for you as well. But I love this because Mars in Capricorn is exalted. It's a Mars who does right action, a Mars who really has a cool and steady way to build and interact in the highest possible way that Mars can. It's a true blessing to have that kind of functionality available to you, you know?
Yeah. We need
So
some healthy Mars energy for sure, right?
yeah, exactly. So I don't know if you can, 1995 is a darn long
Yeah,
time
we
ago.
moved that year. We moved, and it was a significant move. I want to say that year, maybe it was 94. It was close to that time that there were this most significant event was we moved from Austin to Abilene. So go Westlake Chaps, but also go Wiley Bulldogs. But I also had my near-death experience around that time. So I was 14 and I had we had a big car wreck. We were going on a mission trip to Mexico and we had a really nasty car wreck. And so that was a very spiritual, I guess, baptism for me in a way, very painful and very difficult as you're trying to be 14 anyways, and you're trying to move to a different school anyways, and you're approaching it with a lot of pain, and you all of a sudden have this whole different outlook on the world because your experience of spirituality just changed and nobody can tell you you didn't have your experience. So that was a very pinnacle moment in my life.
Wow, that's amazing. So one thing for this year for you is that your Time Lord of the year is Mercury. And you know what? I'm sorry I hopped so quickly from that. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I recognize that. Yeah. And I've heard you speak of that before, and I instantly get a vision.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And it's like, and I think you had said that you see the angelic spheres, and like it's so rich and amazing, but it's almost too much in a way too. You know what I mean? For me, I don't even know. That's just my creative mind. Who the heck knows? So anyhow, thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah, of course. No, it's just neat because these dates are so specific, when we get these readings. But what you're talking about is, I want you to just, in terms of, you're talking about something that happened in 1995 that's releasing in 2034. And I want you to just go back over that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So because the further out you get from the moon, the planets move slower. And because chart, it takes a while for the outer planets, I like pretty much don't deal with unless there's a direction change. But it takes them a while to go through a house. So your Mars would have taken that long for 1995 to 2034 to go through its Capricorn phase. So you still have your Sagittarius Mars that imprinted in your heart, but your experience is heavily into the Capricorn house that it's transiting through.
Yes.
And I mean, and knowing this is really important because I feel like because it's such a strong Mars, you can really rely on your in your impulses around these things. You know what I mean? These Capricornian things, these things around your business, these things around how your things and your money, you have a good sense, and you're a good mentor at it as well. Like you have this connection with it. So
yes, take my psychic development class.
Well, it's true. I mean, yeah, actually.
So that's good. I wanted to slow it down just because for somebody watching, this is not happening for you in the same way. And so when you get a reading, right, Sasha's going to pick up on a planet or a progression that is specific and interesting to you. And that's why, astrology is a lifestyle. It's something that you have really put into your blood and your bones and your tears. And it's something that you can see the interesting thing and point this out. Another astrologer using the same technique might be giving me they would absolutely be giving me a completely different reading. Sasha didn't point that out because she knows and likes me. She pointed it out because she sees it as something that is a very significant piece of the progressed chart. And so I don't want you guys, anybody that's new to astrology, to feel overwhelmed. You don't have to know anything coming into a session. But if you're brand new, she's talking to a specific point in my chart, and she would do the same for you. So I love that we're able to use me as this example because you guys know me. And so I appreciate you slowing it down to explain that we're looking at a Mars as a progression in a very long period of time. But I think what you're gonna shift into is talking about Time Lords. So
Yes.
let's zoom out. And what is a Time Lord for a year? This is fun. I love this topic.
Okay, so this shift, as I had said, as you had so aptly said, from a big like chunk of time, let's just talk about 2023. So next year. So this really starts on your birthday, which is coming up, and and your Time Lord, which is the planet who is at the helm of your chart for the coming year. Usually shifts, doesn't always, kind of depends on how it's because of the way the planets are arranged on the zodiacal wheel. But yours is Mercury for 2023, and that's great information to have as you go into your year, because we will look at the strength of your Mercury natally and in 2023. And so in ancient techniques of astrology, more than modern Western, there's a high focus on the condition of a planet, which means, like, do they like being in that particular sign? How close are they to the sun? How, this, there are like endless ways of assessing the condition of a planet. And so when you identify your Time Lord, that's your buddy this year. Let's think of and plan how to support Mercury in your year, and we can do this through something called planetary remediation, or which is like charity, basically. For you, for Mercury, how can you give an offering to energetic, even? Actually, that's the most important to Mercury. And so this can revolve around mantras, thoughts, incorporating different teas into your life, wearing certain colors. Like, you can make it fun, you know what I mean? Time Lord hashtag, but make it fun. Like, it could be like a really nice experience. Speaking of experience, in my experience, your Time Lord will you will have challenges in revolving around this planet, I have found. And it's not in a way to make your life bad. It's like, look, we're going to make you strong in Mercury this year. You're on the Mercury workout. What are we going to do? And so anyhow, so through this progressive way of looking at your chart, we'll see where Mercury is in your natal chart. So where is Mercury? Well, for you, Mercury lives in the 12th house, which makes sense to me given what you had said about your near-death experience. And I'm not sure if you mentioned it or not, but this was a major part for you with your psychic ability. Was it? Am I remembering that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the 12th house is all about psychic ability, and fostering that connection that you have with Mercury, the communicator, this coming year would be a great offering to the planet.
And I can give you some good feedback too. So guys, Mercury, right, rules or governs our communication, information, highways, neural pathways, the brain, our central processing unit. Mercury rules the way that we think about things, our learning styles. It rules that governs over like the details of life, the fine tuning, the techniques, the strategies, right? Some of you guys know from the midheaven workshop that I have a Virgo midheaven. So part of my gift is bringing practical tools for you. And so this is what I'm doing with some of my Mercury and Virgo midheaven, is fine tuning how you receive psychic information, or how you study astrology, or how you look at human design, or how you can get into the Akashic records and bring, you know, people together that can give that to you for your own path of self-realization, right? So Mercury has a lot to do with what I do. Mercury is also a trickster. Mercury is the coyote, right? So there can be a sense of lightness and humor in a very difficult subject, which is grief, dying, mediumship, connecting with the afterlife, right? And so I can bring some lightness to that too. Some clarity is Mercury. What's going on in my life right now is that so Spellbound Publishers is our sister company. Spellbound publishes metaphysical books, but we also publish other books for people under their brand. So periodically we'll get hired to be the publishing, like the book production hub for another company or another person. And something that has eluded me for 10 years is how to get in the Audible game. And I asked for help. Spellbound hired a new production person that is amazing. And they found a studio in Nashville, and it is priced right. It is the right people. They work with the top 5 publishing house. It's professional, it's crisp, it's amazing. And we have all of a sudden, you know, within the last 2 weeks, been able to go back to our hundreds of authors and say, do you want to make this information, Mercury, your book, Mercury, right, available in the audio waves in the field? And so it is becoming, I'm setting myself up for a very mercurial year, so that Mercury is my time lord. I'm going to the studio soon to meet with our first round of authors to and to meet with the voice actors, and, you know, get connected in that way, make sure that everything's kosher, and just experience it. So that is how Mercury is showing up for me.
Well, that's really awesome, because your 7th house is your 10th and 7th house are ruled by Mercury. And you were saying you're Virgo in the 10th house, yes, but also your 7th house. So you're choosing to connect in these ways with people. It's really pretty cool. And this will be an interesting kind of jumping from your progress chart, but to the transits that are going on right now. It'll be interesting to see the Mars retrograde as it's going through Gemini in this area. And, you know, there's something that I came across recently that feels right to me, that I'm so excited about with Mars retrograde. And it's that Catherine Urban, I think, astrologer, had mentioned it, that Mars acts like is sheathed in the retrograde. So Mars acts more like Venus, and Venus acts more like Mars when they're in the retrograde. And I love that concept, because that has been my experience. Instead of having fear around this really prolonged time that Mars will be in Gemini until March, basically. Anyhow, it'll be really great to see how it interacts with your business, your chosen relationships, or any marriages or things like that.
Right. And, you know, as an artist, for you to consider the Mars symbology becoming the Venus symbology.
Yes.
Right. And the same with Saturn retrograde or Jupiter retrograde, the actual symbol of it, you can rotate it and turn Saturn into Jupiter or Jupiter into Saturn. They can have that opposite effect, right?
Yes.
So Mars being like a mini Venus is what you're saying.
Yes, during retrograde.
Which I'm sure everybody will appreciate in my life.
So let's see, what else do we have here going on? And I guess the last thing that I'll mention that I think particularly pertinent to your 2023 is your moon. So your fascinating moon in your natal chart is conjunct the sun in the 12th house, and it is in Scorpio. So traditionally that would be like a little bit of a weakened moon. And the benefit of knowing that, particularly in younger, the years of your life, is that to knowing the condition of a planet is a weakened planet. It's like, that's when you get support. You know what I mean? Without a question, that's when you get support. And as your progress moon moves along, right now it's really strong in Taurus. So you have a Taurus progressed moon currently. So it's bringing a lot of this this energy, this positivity, this connection, because it's exalted in Taurus, to your relationship with your sun, back to where your sun and your moon conjunct, and the way that your luminaries come together to begin these new these seeds of inspiration that you're offering the world, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, so right now it's really strong, and it will on December 11th join all the party in Gemini. So I think this will be, you'll be bringing, and I keep on thinking of the Moon Tarot, you know, you'll be bringing this this intuitive, vibrant, luminescent sense to these relationships that you're starting, these new relationships that are bridging. And keep on again with the tarot card, that there's the wolf and there's the domestic dog. And so often you hear people say, like, you know, you feed the animal that you want. It's like, well, they're both there, feed them both, you know, pay attention to them both, you know. Anyhow, so I feel like your moon will be in Gemini until January 2025, right as your sun progresses into Capricorn. So clearly something is going on that's up leveling. And that's really exciting for me as someone who appreciates you.
Oh, thank you. And I can speak to that too, guys, because I was accepted into Lisa Williams' Master Teacher Program. And so that is a huge up-leveling, because she selects 10 or less psychics. It's an invitation program, and we're learning to teach psychic work as she does. And it is a huge up-leveling, because in her community, she serves many, many more people than I have been able to serve before. So I'm getting to learn with somebody that I consider is a master, right? I'm getting mentorship from somebody that I look up to in a lot of ways. So that up level, having to do with my little psychic moon and being in a progressed 7th house, where it's all about relationships, right? Like those deepest human bonds, right? Yeah. So I can appreciate what you're saying, as it's just started, right? And you're talking about this being a very current piece of the progression, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I think your moon is something to be celebrated this year, very much so. In the same way I was talking about with planetary remediation, like to offer the moon, celebrate the moon in clothing and in mantras, or finding a charitable donation situation, whatever kind of feels best for you. But that conscious connection to feed and nurture that part of yourself really is what it's doing. Yeah.
And I love that you brought the symbology of the dog and the wolf. And twice I've had this thought, so I'm just going to go for it, is that, you know, in human design, so which works with astrology and many other disciplines, you're looking at the chart of the day that you were born, and also the chart of the day 88 days before you were born, which is very close to what you're saying with 90 days after you were born.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting, right? What's going on?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that, yes, there's the kind of the unconscious side and the conscious side. So there's two parts of your chart that you're going to be like, that's me. I get that. That's not me. That doesn't make sense. But it's this deeper level that actually does make sense if you start the experiment. But the wolf is a big symbol in human design too. So the wolf, I started getting a lot of wolf dreams around the initiation, the beginning of my experience with all of that.
Wow.
So I love that you brought up like feed them both, because that is exactly what I did in my dream.
Really?
Very interesting thing you picked up on.
Huh. Well, I just love your feedback and I love hearing about all this. And so in this offering that will be available, I think we have it established for like 90 days or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
it's up.
in celebration of the we'll also include a transit report and a progression like timetable for the coming year, which is a great, I use it. I love the new year in doing the progression chart and then mapping out my calendar and kind of not to restrict my calendar, but to open it up and to see when there's sparkly times. And I am obsessed with finding the best vacation time. And this is how I do it. Because in the past, I always had the worst luck with vacations. I would always choose a time that there was a hurricane when I was camping or something like that. But now it's like I choose pretty good time. So even little things like that can like sweeten your year ahead.
You could use it if you're writing your book. You could use it to, here's my writing time, here's my creative time. If you're an artist and you want to launch your, gallery, you could use it for something like that. You could decide, is this the year I want to go to school? And, you can come get a session with us, but you can also look at your chart and be like, oh, maybe it's not the right year to go back to school. It's not that it's not ever right. It just might not be optimal right now, or know that it will be maybe more challenging in that particular year.
Right. To get added support, you know what I mean? Exactly. To get added support. That's when you get those flags. Say, okay, how can I support myself? How can I like pay someone to help me or something like that,
Right. And just I can't think of the word, starts with a D, that means ask for help. It means like distribute. The many hands make
delegate.
Light work. Delegate. Yes.
Delegate. That's a good one.
Delegate. Many hands make light work. You can do it all, but it doesn't have to all be done by you, right?
Right.
So in this reading, that what you've learned hopefully today is that there is a technique for using progressions in astrology. You've learned a little bit about the Time Lord and what that might mean for you this specific year. And these things Sasha will go over in her session with you. And she's offering 60-minute Zoom, so you can talk with her like this, or a 30-minute that she'll just record on her own that you can have, and you can have at any time. So one's a little bit more cost effective, one is a little bit more interactive. But she's also giving you these reports, which is amazing. What a resource that you're going to be able to have all year long. So, I think the best thing you can do is to purchase our journal that is a version of our digital calendar, and then get Sasha's session and use it and go mark it up with all of your dates, or put it in your digital calendar and mark it up and be like, hey, this is the time when things shift this way according to my Time Lord, or according to whatever Sasha has shared with you, and start to work with it like an experiment. Something that we do when we're new in astrology is use it against ourselves. Oh, I can't do anything this day, or you know what I mean? And so I have a huge disclaimer that no one is allowed to use this against themselves. This is information for you, and where you can use your free will. It's not so hard lined. It's like, it could be an illumination to discover more about yourself, to feel like you're in better alignment, to feel like your choices and life is supported by the universe. It already is, whether you feel that way or not, right? Like, of course you have the support of the universe, and this is a tool to really love yourself,
I love that you're bringing that up, Tiffany, because there's a point where being superstitious isn't helpful, right? So these are tools that in the past have been feared, and we've been programmed to fear them. They're not meant to be superstitious. They're here to help. This is how the universe is supporting us.
Right. Yes. And thank you for bringing your unique gifts and talents. I really appreciate you and love you so much. And I'm so honored that you're with us this season. So guys, Sasha does a lot of guest writing too. So you'll see her articles. She's written a beautiful one about retrogrades, retro shades. Cazimi's will be up soon. And so you can go back through and search her in our blogs and other things too. So she writes a Substack, and I wanted to know if you wanted to share that too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I maybe it's Bring to a Boil on Substack, but maybe I'll send you the link.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll put it in the comments.
All right. Thank you, Tiffany.
Okay. Anything else that we forgot that you're like, oh, we got to mention this point?
No, I feel like I feel complete in what we had said. And I want to thank you so much. And I look so forward to seeing the magic that you sprinkle all over the earth. It's just delightful.
Oh, that means so much to me. I'm so excited about the year ahead. It's like life is getting better and better and better. I will turn 42 in a couple of weeks here. And so, as you know, that is during my Uranus opposition.
Yes.
So I think, I'm excited to experience it instead of just reading about everybody that's gone the path before me.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I wanted to, the Uranus opposition is actually going to perfect pretty soon, isn't it? It with progressions, like in a couple of days. And I have this year experienced Uranus in the most delightful way. That's been heartening, right? True, things turn on their heads, but sometimes, that means you get the change out of the pockets. You know what I mean? It's like, has that been your experience?
Oh yeah, because like we moved, I joined this master teacher program. I got this Audible gig, like all of the big exciting changes have gone from severe health challenges where I'm thinking I'm dying, for the last 6 months into this, the off-gassing isn't so bad, there's like an happiness to the spark of it. But yeah, that's a whole other topic, which maybe I'll go into some other time. But it was interesting. I had a lot of horror done around my health. Yeah.
Well, cheers to 2023.
2023. And thank you for this beautiful offering and your time and wisdom and experience and hope. And we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.